What's up, everybody? It is Ashley, and this is the Mama's Den, and I am here with three of my favorite ladies, and I will let them introduce themselves.
I'm Felicia LaFleur. Oh my gosh. I almost took my tooth.
Yeah, you did.
Oh my God. Imagine my tooth just
Does it still hurt?
Because
you don't have to play it out
like when you
if it
get
hurts.
woke
No,
up
it
with-
didn't hurt. I'm like, thank God.
Girl, your teeth look good, too.
They're
That
very,
would've been a
they do
shame.
look very even.
I was like, whoa, child.
Oh,
I said my name.
Perfect. Just making sure the teeth are there. I'm Melanie Fiona.
and I'm Codie Elaine Oliver. And I got a secret topic for y'all.
A secret topic.
Secret topic.
Oh,
Secret-ish.
God. Okay.
Secret-ish. All right. I am totally obsessed with women's bodies post-baby. Like, I'm obsessed. Like on Instagram, I'm like constantly looking like, did this person have work done? Did they not? Like why
me
did this
too.
person, like, I mean, sometimes you're looking at people who you know didn't have work and you're like, why did her body do that?
Yeah,
Tiana
and
Taylor.
mine did this. Yeah, well,
Perfect.
See, but she's a dancer, singer, performer.
I was a dancer, too. I have six-pack after I had my baby.
A week later after her baby slid out in the bathtub. She was showing off
A
the
day
six-pack.
later? Okay,
Yeah.
but anyway.
So I'm totally obsessed. And first off, I need to know if I'm alone here.
No,
you're not alone.
I love women's
I do
bodies in
too.
general, period. Like,
Yeah.
I just love women's bodies, and definitely I'm interested in the after
Yeah.
birthing, just because we all have such different experiences, and I'd be like, why, God?
Exactly. Like, I mean, and yes, well, I think we all love ourselves. Okay, we love ourselves, but I definitely just have a hard time figuring out like my comfort level with this body and what I want to do. And I have thought about plastic surgery a lot.
Same.
So, okay, but my first question to you all is, what surprised you, good or bad, about your body after having kids?
Oh, my stomach.
What surprised you, good or bad?
Yeah.
I mean, good. I developed more curves than I had before.
Yeah, same.
You know, like I had more hips and my thighs were a little thicker, and I was okay with all of that. What surprised me in not such a self-loving way was the fact that just loose skin.
Yeah.
I mean, my breasts also, they just completely took a different form. It was like, I used to have D breasts already before, but
Yeah.
they just sat up.
Yeah.
After I breastfed and had a baby, they sat forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to having to wear 2 sports bras to run on the treadmill. You know, so that was really uncomfortable for me. But that loose skin and the diastasis recti of
Girl,
my belly.
that-
Okay, wait. We have to explain that, child.
Okay.
Because people don't even know. Like, you have babies and don't even know what
No.
diastasis
Well, let's be
recti
clear.
is.
Most black women don't even know they have it because they don't even get properly checked.
Yeah.
There's like really terrible postpartum care for black women.
So
I
I
had to
have
do a
it.
self-exam to find
I
out
have
that I
it.
had it.
I
So
Googled,
Melanie has
yeah.
it.
Same.
I have it. Cody.
I have it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
most women do have it, and
Yeah.
and the fact of the matter is that a lot of it goes undiagnosed, and then we sit there and we're like, well, why can't I lose this mama belly?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of it is because your abdominal wall has separated.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then you're doing the wrong
and you're doing the wrong
exercises.
exercises.
You can't plank. You can't
No,
crunch.
right. And that's
all of that
all- I
makes
was
it
doing
worse.
all of that. Yep.
Yeah.
and which can exacerbate it and make
Yep.
it worse. And, you know, I think the thing that happened for me was prior to having children, I would critique that body at its finest, smallest, fittest. And now the amounts of self-love I've had to exercise on this new body to not compare it to that old body
child.
is just the greatest lesson
Yeah.
that I've had to experience personally for self-love, because it's just, and especially like you said, going online and seeing women in this
Yeah.
obsession of like, well, did they and how did they not? And women either being truthful about it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't trust anything.
You
That's
can't.
true.
You
That's
only can
true.
trust the people you know personally that you can ask. Right.
Right.
And I'm just so curious about it. So for me, I was surprisingly happy with how I was able to snapback is the wrong word because I don't feel like I've snapped back stomach wise, but the rest of my body, like my legs are cute.
Yeah.
My shoulders are cute.
not
Like all
shoulders.
of the arms look nice.
Shoulders.
My
My
elbows.
clavicle, my
girl,
clavicle
what?
is one of my best features.
My
Okay, let's
knuckles
be
look
clear.
amazing.
Right.
But all them things make me look skinny.
Yes.
And then I have like a stomach that I'm not comfortable with.
Right.
But I will say I'm happy that it's not worse.
Yeah.
Okay?
no, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that
That's
was
fair.
a big surprise for me. And then like I didn't know what to expect from my boobs. I've always had small boobs. They got big when I was pregnant and when I was breastfeeding, and then they just disappeared. Child. Disappeared.
Yeah, mine got bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always baffles
Mine
me.
stayed big.
You know what? I think that when people tell you to look at your mom, that's not always true. I think I took after my dad's sisters. My mom had 4 kids. She has no stretch marks. Her breasts got smaller after each child. My mom is really tall. She's really thin.
Yeah.
Even she said the most she weighed when she was pregnant was 140.
Oh, wow.
I weighed that shit before I had a baby. Right. So I was just like, yeah,
With
my
your
mom
little
is
self?
really. Oh well, before I had
Your second.
Asia, I was 140, but that was like, I weighed 140 at my wedding, but that was muscle because I'm almost 5'8", like I'm 5'7" and half-ish, but my body, I carry most of my weight in my breasts. I've always been really thin with big breasts. So 140 for me is like, that's the perfect weight because
it's
it's distributed like properly, but I feel like I have body dysmorphia anyway because I did ballet my whole life. All I was doing was standing in the mirror, picking my body apart every single day. Like when I look back at my body, it makes me sad because I'm like, I did not appreciate myself at all. I wasn't wearing crop tops or tank tops or anything. And I thought I was so big. It actually makes me really sad because I was really skinny to the point where I was underweight. Even my doctor told me like, you are really underweight for your height. But I keep comparing myself to that body, and that wasn't even a healthy body. Like it was healthy, but that's my natural weight, but still it wasn't even healthy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So now my biggest struggle is just not looking at the scale, number one.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't look at the scale ever.
I know, but I do. Like that is really bad for me.
Yeah.
But equally, I had to relearn to love like my stomach. I really remember after I had Amira, I had the snapback. I only gained 20 pounds. Every time I'm pregnant, I only gain 20. That's it. You. I've never gained more than 20 pounds before when I was pregnant. I drop it all. But after I had Asia, I mean, it was different. I gained weight. Yeah, it was. That was a terrible experience for me. But when I had Amira, I remember I lost all the weight. I looked in the mirror and I just started crying because my stretch marks, they're lighter than my skin. So it's not like, oh, put this cream on and it'll lighten them up. So it's very noticeable. I'm very dark. So they're like light. Right. And I just cry every day. I remember I would not look at my stomach. I didn't want Chia touching my stomach. And it just was such a point of contention for me. I still really don't like it. Yeah. I just have accepted it. Like, whatever, I'm going to die one day. I'm not about to live my whole life being pissed about this. Right. Yeah. But I still don't like it. It's not that I don't love my body. It's it's okay to not like things about your body. It's just, and there's nothing I could do. Like, I could try some laser treatments or something, but it's hard when you have dark skin because there's not a lot of things that are out there that can really help you because people don't focus on black skin anyway. Yeah. Especially when you're really dark too. So it's just like, I just had to let it go.
I feel like my biggest thing was I was always very tiny, like 125, and both of my children are huge. Like, you know.
Really?
Peace was 8'11", and Zen was 9'10", and I was like, oh my.
Zen was 9'10"?
Yeah.
God,
and I gained 70 pounds with both of my kids.
Wow.
Like, I retain a lot of water.
Didn't even look, I feel like when you were pregnant, you didn't look like you gained 70 pounds.
Yes. If you look at pictures, you'd be like, okay, there it goes. But my biggest thing was I had body dysmorphia before. Yeah. Same thing. I would always pick myself apart, like, since I was younger.
Right.
And I remember after I had Peace, maybe when she was like 6 or 7 months, and I would look at pictures of my old self, and I literally had to like go inward and apologize to my inner self. I was like, I am so sorry. Because I was like, I was beating myself up over how I looked, and I looked perfect. I looked fine. Yeah. I was like, but I was so sad. So finally ridding this idea of like trying to get back to old self and really embracing like this new version of myself. I love my body now. Of course, my boobies is saggy. I have my little extra skin, but I'm so much more confident.
Yeah, same.
Even down to the sex thing. I literally wouldn't like masturbate or anything before because I didn't feel comfortable like in my own skin.
Oh, wow.
But now that I've had children, I'm like, oh, I feel sexy.
Yeah. I feel like you've come
I'm like,
into
let me like
yourself.
touch myself. And I'm like, wait. And at first I was so like against that idea. I'm like, this is really weird. But now I'm like, no, bitch, you're fine.
You are.
I'm like, like, I don't know if that's like a weird thing. I don't give a shit. But I'm like, but it has given me so much more confidence that I feel like I can now accept myself like as a woman.
I beat myself up over the fact that I thought I would be able to, I was never thinking about a snapback as much as like, I can work out. Like, I've always worked out. Yeah. Something I realized is that when I was smaller before kids and I thought I was big, anytime I needed to like lose a couple pounds and go on vacation, whatever,
body respond
I would go
right away.
My body would totally respond, but it was never me trying to like lose a bunch of fat weight, right? It was like, oh, let me just get it right before I go to Miami. You
right.
know?
Yeah.
And then post baby is like this very concerted, like, now I have to lose this weight that's never been there before. Yep. And so honestly, Felicia, like following your journey post Zen, I did not see post peace, but like post Zen of like the ginger shots and all the workouts that you were doing. And I was like very inspired, but still on my couch. Every once in a while, I would go out and like jog a little bit. But for me, I thought that would be me. And I've been very disappointed, I think, in myself for not working harder. But then I'm also like, I'm doing so much. And I had 3 back-to-back. And like, so I just feel like I'm still beating myself up over it.
I'm just also throw this out there that like age is a big thing.
Yes.
Like your body doesn't work the way it used to in your 20s, in your late 20s, your early 30s, your late 30s. Like things change. And like with more children, hormones change. Women, I feel that women's hormones are just not addressed in general.
Yeah.
Because I just know for me, it's like I have done every diet. I'm extremely fucking strong in the gym. So for me, at the end of the day, it was like, this just might be my new body.
Yeah.
Like, and what is
my doctor? It wasn't my doctor prenatal. It was actually my doctor who does my laser hair. I went to talk to him because they had like some kind of machine that burns the fat, and I was asking him about it. Like, hey, like, can I get it? So then he did an exam. He was like, first of all, you don't have a lot of body fat. He's like, you have ab separation. He said, but when you have specifically the fat just in your stomach as a woman, that is completely hormonal based. And he was talking to me about how after women have babies, you basically have a wound and you should have wound care and your hormones are out of whack. He was like, so you should be getting like hormone medicine and getting everything to re-regulate your body. But he said most women don't get that. So he's like, they're trying to lose weight and don't realize you're not going to lose that weight if your hormones are off. Yep. So it just when you said that, I'm just thinking like, we don't even know what's going on in our body. We're not getting the proper care.
And it's not a one size fits all thing.
Not at all. And that's the biggest thing when they're always like, your body needs to you can only gain this amount. And I'm like, wait, I can't only gain fit. My body just doesn't work like that when I'm pregnant. So I'm like, who is the prototype? I want to know. And when did you guys take this like
poll?
That's what I'm saying. Like I have done I've been vegan, I have been vegetarian, I have been keto, whatever the hell it is. I have worked out two a days, Orange Theory. I have never gotten back to my pre-baby body weight. No matter how fit or fine I was, I still carried that extra 15 to 20 pounds, guaranteed. Now, mind you, again, I have bigger breasts, I have thicker thighs now, but I'm okay with that. The thing that changed the game for me was I remember I was going to therapy and I was talking about everything under the sun with therapy, but I remember going to her and saying, and I just don't understand. I'm like, I say I want to be a certain weight and look a certain way, but here I came in here with a muffin and I'm like, I just want to fucking eat the muffin. And she was just like, because you don't feel like you're in control. So you want to rebel against the idea of control. And she was just like, I want you to stop waiting to feel good about yourself. She said, don't wait to go buy yourself a new outfit because you're not at the desired weight or size that you are. Go find something that fits your body now, that makes you feel good now, before you start criticizing and saying, I've got to wait before I can put that dress on or get that, I feel like the culture we're in right now is so confusing. Because on one regard, you've got women talking about snapback culture and if you got work done and all these things. And then on the other side, we have this beautiful representation of body positivity with artists like Lizzo. And we're like, yes, this is how confident you need to be. Yet there's another dialogue going on that's like, you don't need to be like that. You need to snap back. You need to go see a doctor. Yet it's almost like if it's done from self-love rather than self-hate, then we can accept it. So it's like, even surgery, it's like if you're doing it from self-love, then okay, but we have this idea that if you do it from self-hate, it's shunned down upon, And I think that as long as you're doing anything from self-love, then that is what you need to honor. But again, like it can be very confusing. Because I do want to be able to walk out there and be like, this is what I look like.
Right.
But to be honest, if you have the confidence to walk out and say, this is what I look like, I'm unapologetic, who's going to tell you differently? It all comes from you though.
I feel like my thoughts about body is a little controversial at times because self-love is also taking care of yourself.
Yes.
So it's not about just like letting yourself go and being an unhealthy.
100%.
There is such thing. I don't care what anybody says. There is such thing as an unhealthy weight.
I agree.
You don't, and you can't just
for your person.
Each individual person. Like we don't all, that scale that they base it off of is BS. But I personally don't believe in people just letting themselves go and they be like, I just love myself. No, you don't, because now you're at higher risk for diseases. That's not healthy either. You know what I mean? But there's a space between
each his own.
Yes, but equally, I have a problem sometimes when people do that and then they're like, no, I just love myself the way I am and I don't want people judging me. But that's not also sending a positive message because my dad used to smoke and he'd be like, this is my body, blah, blah. Yeah, but you're going to kill yourself and you have children. Like that's selfish.
Yeah,
so for me, I feel like you shouldn't be basing yourself off of a specific weight. But if you are exercising moderately, eating healthy moderately, and you're just a specific weight, like that's good. You know what I mean? But there can be both ends of the spectrum where you just don't take care of yourself at all and you get to be a certain weight, or you obsess about your weight and you're doing every single diet and exercising to the point of no return and you're like looking perfect, but that's not healthy either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to be in between somewhere.
But that is different from your mind. Like what you're doing for yourself, you could be doing all the things. Like I said, I did all the things and I still looked at my body and I was like, why is it not responding?
Me too.
So it really comes from a state of mind. But to the point, it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
You have to be doing the work to feel good, to be like, I'm doing the best that I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm proud of where I have come or where I'm at.
Yes.
And I will not allow any external factors to make me feel bad about that.
No, and I'm still going to get my boobs done now.
And this is...
Yeah, that was my biggest thing with losing weight with both of the kids. I had to really learn and train my mind to love each size that I was at. Because it's like if I'm originally 120 and I'm about to be 2 something by the time that I deliver them.
Yeah, that's
it's
hard.
like, and then that was the thing. I'm like, I want to buy new pants, but then I don't want to buy new pants because I still have 50 more pounds. And I'm like, no. You need to fall in love with like this version of you. And then once you're done with this, you're gonna have to spend a little bit more money to fall in love with
pants,
this. But it really helped me to like understand and really exercise this idea of like loving thyself on like, I'm like at any size. And there's some shit you want to alter. Even this, I'm like, I feel like I look great, but I'm still about to go get this stomach cut off and I'm still about to get these boobies and I don't give a shit what somebody thinks.
Let's go there. Yes,
I can't wait to see your titties.
Oh, I can't wait to see my titties.
So
I'm about to be showing people
this
like,
is definitely happening.
I'm like, because
I'm
I'll
here
show you
for it.
now.
Are you going?
Oh, I have an appointment, baby. The damn surgery is almost all paid off. I am not playing.
So wait, let's back up.
This is a plan too.
Let's back up. Okay, how old were you when you had your last kid? And then like I said, I mentioned seeing your journey.
Yeah.
Right. So how long did you go hard?
So this is my thing. I do not know why, but when I first got pregnant with Peace, remember I was telling you guys, I never envisioned myself as like being a mom.
Yeah.
I always thought I was going to be the auntie that was cool. Didn't happen like that. I'm the cool mom and the cool auntie. So that with pride. So when I had Peace, I was like, okay, I have this idea that I want to have my children before I turn 30 because of the whole hormonal thing. And I was like, and then I want my body to snap back because I also had this idea of like, I want to be back skinny. Just crazy. It ended up happening how it happened. So
it worked because you're skinny.
Right. Yeah. So I did that. And then, but I also knew after I had my second baby that I wanted to get my boobs done.
Okay.
And then after I had my first, I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to end up needing a tummy tuck too because I'm so tiny. They stretch me out so much. I'm strong, but I also have the ab separation and I have loose skin. So second baby, here we go. So I had Peace when I was 23. And then I had Zen when I was, what am I now, 30, 28? Yeah, I had Zen when I was 28. And so, I feel like this is perfect time. Here we go.
Do you think that because obviously with surgery comes the risk of if you have children later on in life?
Do you plan to?
Do you know?
I plan to crash that bridge when I get there. I literally,
she's 30.
I'm like,
that's none of my business.
I thought about it because I just know that most doctors will say, hey, if you're going to repair that, you might want to consider if you're finished having children because it can basically ruin everything that you worked for.
Oh yeah. Then you would have to get the surgery again.
Yeah. I feel like I'm done having kids.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, I've 2 is enough for me. You know? I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, it's interesting because the thought of that for me is different and I think it's changed. I think because I had a cesarean and it made me very traumatized to surgery, that I just thought, why would I elect to have surgery again for any reason? Like why? Like surgery to me is a risk, period. Like whether it's elective, no matter how many times it's been done, we've heard the stories, there's always a risk involved. And I'm just not about, I don't like to take risks with my health. For me, I would personally have to get to a place where the risks outweigh, or the benefits outweigh the risks for me, you know? And like, I support women doing whatever they want to do with their bodies. It is what it is. For me personally, I do look at the risk when it comes involved. Like anytime you cut your body open, anytime you do something to it, whether it's elective or necessity, there is a risk involved. And so for me, I think I would have to get to that place to feel like I feel completely safe and comfortable with this. This will elevate my life, my mood, my outlook on a daily basis. So for right now, I'm just doing the best that I can. And I've come a long way, because I can honestly say, like, I put on 80 plus pounds and I was over 200 pounds after I had Cam. And it was insane, because your family says things. My family's Caribbean. They always say in the comments, you used to be a little skinny mini, and look at you now, you get big, sir. And it's like, I'm carrying a baby. Like, and I didn't.
And that doesn't make you feel good.
No. And you know what? And I remember when I went to the doctor at like 6 months, the nurse said to me, she said, oh, and I said, what happened? She says, you put on 11 pounds since your last visit. I said, is that a lot? She was like, it's quite a lot. And I was like, well, what is it? And she's like, well, you've already put on over 40 pounds for your pregnancy already, and you still have 4 months to go.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, she says, well, it was Thanksgiving. She's like, how was your I said, I didn't eat the whole damn turkey. I was like, I didn't sit there and eat everything on the table.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But she was really asking me. And for me, it's like, I had to really, at that point, now you've made me conscious of my weight. And I have 4 more months to go. My doctor, he was wonderful. He came in and I said, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, I'm never going to tell a pregnant woman to go on a diet.
Yeah.
He's like, just let that go. He came in and said that to me, and he was like, just let it go. He was like, just be mindful, you know, moving forward that you are. He's like, know that the larger you get, the harder it's going to be on your body. So be mindful of that. But I didn't think, it's so funny because, again, we have this idea, it's like, you're pregnant, eat, do what you got to do, feel good. But there is a point where nobody tells you in that that 80 pounds that you put on was going to be so hard to get up out of bed and move after you had a baby, and
especially
lose
with a C-section.
after you have, and then after you have a C-section, just all of that. Nobody prepared me for that. So I had to do so much work. When I tell you so much mental and self-love work to just let go of these ideas, you know, and just say, all right, you may never go back to 130 again. You're just going to stay at 145 at your best and strongest, fittest. Or can you live with that?
Yeah.
And I was like, I can live with it. But again, like I said, for me, I think it's all personal, and I think you have to know where you're at, and you have to be comfortable with those decisions, and you really just have to own it. Because I don't like when women are out here flaunting bodies, saying, "Oh, well, you know, I just had 5 kids," and it's just like, there's a whole world. Not that women have to divulge all their business, but I'm just saying this culture that we have, even just of cosmetic surgery, facelifts or nose jobs or whatever it is. And we have a slew of celebrities that are out there wearing other faces now that they never used to have.
Not wearing other faces.
That never admits that they've done things. Yeah. You know, never admits to it. And again,
that makes it hard.
Oh, I feel differently about that.
Wait, about people's faces?
No, about people flaunting their snapbacks, because this is just my opinion about it.
No, hold on. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to flaunt it. Flaunt that shit. You paid for that shit.
You're talking about the illusion.
I'm talking about the illusion. That
and then people out here killing them. Like, how come I can't do that? But it's like, but she didn't even do it.
Admit that you have help.
That's the
Admit
thing.
that you
that's okay.
But even still, I feel like that there's an onus on ourselves as consumers, right? And that's how I try to teach my daughter. People are not honest.
Yeah.
You don't know what someone did or didn't do. First of all, you need to not be comparing yourself to other people, because number one, you don't know beyond if they had surgery. You don't know what their genetic makeup is. Like, we're not the same. So for me, I think I consume that the same way I put that in the same category as everything when I'm on Instagram, right? Like, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. When I see other people building their dream homes and other shit that I don't have yet, like, I can't even fit all my kids in my car that I have. Like, we need to get a new car. So I see other people flaunting those things, like, oh, we're getting our dream home and blah, blah, blah. And that could be stressful. Or like when I see other people like, oh, my show just got greenlit, or I just got a book deal. And I'm just like, damn, like, I'm trying to work towards those things. I have to check myself, like, that's not my life. That's not where I'm at.
And you don't know their journey.
We have to teach our daughters specifically, if you have girls, and even ourselves, right? When you are online or you're consuming, that's number one why I don't let my daughter get on Instagram.
Same.
Like, she has her own little page and I let her post something and she has to log right off. Like, she's not allowed to skim the internet. And it's because I understand how powerful that can be. It's hard. It's a human reaction. You see that, but I consistently, when I see that, I'm like, either they got something done or they didn't, but that my body doesn't look like that. So like, what am I doing to love myself the way I look? Because I can't keep comparing myself to other people.
I mean, the comparison issue is 100% where it begins.
So here's where I struggle, right? So I know I sort of started this with like body image, which is definitely a problem for me, but it's also like mom life and feeling like, man, if I just had more time to make this workout happen consistently, or to like be more thoughtful about what I'm eating and what even before what I'm eating, what I'm shopping for, etc. Like, I constantly feel like I don't know what my body can do because I haven't like pushed it that hard yet. Or like sometimes I'll push it and kind of be like, I see no change. And so I get discouraged and then life gets busy.
Right.
You know, I just feel like from a mom standpoint, like I just struggle to find the time to make the commitment to diet and exercise. Yeah. And then I'm like, what is my body going to do? Is it going to work? Is it not? Is the diastasis right? Like, I went to yoga. I went to hot yoga for a period. Yeah. I love hot yoga, but I started it fairly recently for like a month. And then I had to, what's the word? Not adjust, but like I had to modify everything, you know? And it was one of those fast hot yogas where they're like, all right, do this and do that. And so I'm like, well, I can't do that.
Well, you should have went to a beginner's class. And then there's nothing wrong with modifying anything.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong, but you have to know what you can't do.
That's what I was like, I got to
study this whole.
I do think for you specifically, you like, I find myself similar to you in that aspect. But another thing is, Chia had just a real, I call it RN conversation with me. And he was just like, well, he can't be a real nigga, but I'm the real nigga, so it's fine. But
I didn't know what you meant when you said RN.
It's a real nigga conversation.
No, I got it now.
And he just was like, Ashley, it's just a real ass conversation. Because it was the same conversation about me writing, finding time to write, finding time to do anything, right? And he said, Ashley, how many shows do you watch at night? So let's say you don't watch shows, but you're just up editing stuff, right? It doesn't even matter. He said, what matters to you will matter to you. He said, you will make the time for the things that are important to you. He's like, I don't want to hear about your body anymore if you are asking me to pick up Oreos. He was like, I don't want to hear about your body anymore if I'm like, hey, you want to go to the gym? And you're like, no, I'm just going to watch my show. He's like, I'm not going to push you to do anything you don't want to do. But equally, you need to have responsibility over your own life. Like, you're making the time for the things you want. So that goes for you too.
No,
like,
I'm
you have to
aware.
if you got to wake up 30 minutes earlier and be like, I'm just going to do this 30-minute exercise. Like, yes, sleep is important, but at some point, the same way you sacrifice everything for your career, you have to put your body and your health in that same category. Because if you're not healthy and you burn yourself to the ground, no matter how many good shows you have, you're not going to be healthy enough to be around to benefit from any of that. So really, it's just a conversation with yourself about how bad do you want to be healthy, or how bad do you want to be in shape, or how bad do you want that stomach to go down. Your stomach is really not bothering you because you're not doing anything about it. That's just the truth. When it bothers you enough, you'll start working out.
That's why I started. That's why when once I started losing my weight, or even just getting on my program has been drop Peace off at school,
right?
Get the stroller and put Zen on his walk. But it was also a very big thing of like, okay, he likes to be outside. So it was like my little motivation of like, all right, you're going to push this big ass stroller, this big ass kid. But it's helped me to lose weight. But I literally won't, everybody knows I don't schedule anything if it's past 10, only past 10. But before that, I'm like, that's my little hour-and-a-half window to do my thing with no excuse. Like, this is what it is.
That's what that time is carved out.
And other people put their lives, when you're trying to schedule a meeting with somebody, whatever, it don't matter if they're asleep or this one thing I learned from the Jewish Jewish community, they put their religion first. Like, they're not doing certain things on certain
Fridays,
days, on their holidays. It's shut down. Like, we have to, people, I just don't think that people think they even deserve to have limitations, to have boundaries. We feel like we have to always be available for our career.
Culture. I'm like,
for
our culture,
everything.
our American
it's
culture.
reactive.
Like, you got to rewrite that.
It's just too reactive.
Like, you got to rewrite that. Like, actually, I'm not, people will magically find a way to be available when you're available.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just have to put yourself first. I know that I'm not a morning person. I work out at night. I will work out at 1 o'clock in the morning because there's just no way in the world I'm getting up early. It's just not, my body's not wired that way.
You just have to know thyself.
Yes.
And I think too, like, Codie, for you, I think part of the thing is that, like, there's a middle ground, I think, between what Ashley's saying and what you're saying is, and I always just tend to act from a very, like, well space of forgiveness for self and grace with self.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. There is definitely a question and discipline that is needed and required for results.
Yeah.
However, I also am very, again, through, I think, my journey, I had to exercise more of that because I was so self-critical.
Yeah.
And this idea of perfectionism was always in my mind just through how I was raised and what I did growing up.
Right.
So for me, I had to work to find the middle ground to be like, if you're doing the best that you could today, and of course we can always say you could do better if you just plan your day a little differently.
Exactly.
But again, to her point, what matters to you will matter to you.
Yeah.
And you know, you just have to have understanding that's just like, this is where I'm at. Just like I know there's times I get to with working out and I'm just like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I have to own that. Like, I understand that if I make a decision, I don't want to work out, I'm not in the mood, and we talked about this the other day, like, I don't care. Like, I have to own that then. And I also have to own what comes
You know what's
with it.
interesting? You said your mom was like a little more strict and there's like an error like of perfection, right? My mom was the complete opposite. She was too lenient. So I feel like it taught me to be slightly lazy. And now I literally have this conversation with my oldest daughter all the time. And I was telling her, like, it's funny that you're saying that because you're like, I'm giving myself grace but that triggers me because I'm like, I know where that can end up.
Yeah.
When you get too lackadaisy about things. So I think that's why now I'm more realizing that sometimes you do have to just be more strict.
Yeah.
If you have a goal, because that's how I am. I'm like, I'll write when I feel like it, when the Lord blesses me with a thought. And my show will happen when it happens. I'll rewrite this and edit this. That does not get shit done. It'll be like 5 years later and they're waiting on you to send edits and you're like,
No.
So I feel like,
plan and structure are super important.
If you have
for
a
results.
specific goal, and if it's you want your stomach to go down, you can love yourself into infinity, but that's not gonna go nowhere unless you get up and work out and eat differently. Like, especially when it comes to your stomach, it is 90%, 80% diet, 20% working out. I know people who work out all the time and they do not look any different because they don't change their diet. I'm like, you might as well change your diet if you're not gonna work out.
Yeah.
Before that, you will see results faster that way than you will working out every day and not changing the way you eat. And I don't even think people, well, you know, our relationship with food is just, there's not a lot of education around it. So
and
you
I think
have to learn that.
And I think also not being so married, because I know my thing has gone to, when I first am losing weight, I have this idea, like, this is what my goal is. And I get like obsessively, that's just how I've always been. Like, if I have a goal, I'm about to go get that shit.
Yeah.
So I would work out 5 days a week and then on the weekends. But then when I lost the weight, now it's like, okay, I'm going to work out 3 times out of but I have to do it for my mental health because I just get depressed real easy if I don't exercise, serotonin release. So now I'm like, okay, 3 times out of the week, but I'm not married to like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's this. I'm like, no, if I don't want to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I want to do it Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
But I just have this idea that at least 3 times out of the week, I have to exercise.
So I think that's what I'm
that's
saying. Like, that's a middle ground.
Yeah.
Like, having grace with
yourself. She already
totally
got to where she wanted to be, though. She didn't have that mentality to get there. She got where she wanted to be, and then was like,
oh,
okay,
I bite the bullet.
up.
I'm like, here we, and then that's the thing too with exercising. My thing is, right after I had peace, I got down to where I can run like a marathon in a day. I literally will wake up and be like, today I'm going to run 26 miles.
Yeah, I
like,
was looking at that like,
just
I
a
could barely
crazy
run a mile.
Did you? Wait, what are you saying right now?
Well, because I literally just get to a point where I go into a meditative state when I exercise, whether it's with yoga or running. I just found my thing that makes me turn my brain off. I'm a very like action in the moment, like meditator. I can't sit and like, it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So
you need moving meditation.
Yeah. Gotta be moving. So I just got to the point where like, okay, I know that I just had Zen and I can't run, even though my mind thinks that I can run 6 miles. I literally couldn't even run 1 mile. But that first week is like, okay, the goal is 6 miles, Fee. Be realistic because you're going to beat yourself up for not even, you can't do it. Damn it. Mm-hmm. You're big as shit right now. It's not going to work. So the first week I'm like, okay, you're going to run 1 mile and you're going to run it as fast as you can, but don't break your back. Yeah. So then the next week it's like, now you're going to start doing 2 miles and you're going to go a little bit faster. So each week, but it's like, if I tell myself I'm going to get abs, and it's like, it's not realistic. Yeah. Right. Like you got to reel it back in and really break. It's like, that's the big goal, but you have to break down the big goal or you're never going to fight. You're going to keep giving up. Yeah. You're literally going to keep giving up. You know?
And that is the cycle that is so hard to get out of.
Yeah. It's like that's and I feel like that is what has made a lot of my goal setting successful, is because I do not try to bite it all at one time. I'm like, break it down. Like, I know I want to write a book. I know I want this podcast to be successful. I know I want to have all these. And I'm like, but bitch, sorry, I cuss a lot too. I'm like, but one thing at a time. Yeah. You also need to, you still have a business that is running. You still have 2 kids. You still have yourself. You still want to date. You still have, I'm like, hold on.
You're a chocolate man.
Yeah, I'm like, bring it in, you know? But
yes, Codie.
Well,
that in between.
Oh, you said yes, Codie.
You look like you were going to say something.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say is I know this conversation can go on forever and ever. But we got to wrap it up. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will try to run a mile, I think, next week.
I'm like, just feel grilled just now.
You know, I was killing 10,000 steps a day for a while. I was very excited about that. And then I fell off when life got really hard. But I'll get back there.
You'll get there.
Yeah,
I'll appreciate y'all.
After we eat these donuts.
And for those of you at home, please like this podcast, follow
this podcast. In fact,
love it, rate it, share it. The Mama's Den. We are here for you week after week. Well, really for ourselves, and by extension, all of the mamas. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.